to be doing today is fixing these Joy-Cons that are suffering from stick drift. What is stick drift, you might ask? It is when you're using these analog control sticks and you may push down on an analog stick and it may go in an entirely different direction, or the analog stick could get stuck and it will really truly mess up your game while you're playing. What happens is over time, these analog sticks get worn out because some of the first batches from Nintendo were made kind of cheaply and wore out over a period of time. Now, in order to actually test if we have stick drift in these or not, we need to first turn on the Nintendo Switch. On the bottom, that there is a settings, there's like a gear or a cog icon near the end by the power button. You will select it, controllers and sensors. Then you'll want to push to the right and you'll want to go right to where below to where it says update controllers and click on collaborate control sticks. We want to try the left one first, this one. And what we want to do is push this to the right and hold it until it comes in here. Now this plus sign in the center bullseye should always stay centered. So if I hold the controller down, bottom left, and I let go, it should return back to the center in a plus sign like this. Same with the top. I'm going to do upper left, and you see how that's floating around right there? That means there's drift, and that's how you can test to see if there's truly drift in your Joy-Cons. And you can see it's still drifting around. Whenever it does this, that means there's a problem. And I'm gonna go to upper right and let go. And as you can see, it's still drifting. Now I'm gonna try lower right and let go. And it still is drifting. Now, I can click on the X button to try to collaborate this in the software. In collaborating, it'll want you to push the analog stick toward the triangle and release. And as you can see, even as it's trying to collaborate, it's not going back to the center. This Joy-Con is definitely having stick drift. It won't even go through the recalibration process. As you can see, it fails. So that's how you can test if it's software based or you need to update your Joy-Cons. You just want to go into the settings first and try to recalibrate it through the Nintendo Switch software. And if that doesn't work and you get this problem as you see here, it is definitely the hardware of the Joy-Con. I'm going to test the right Joy-Con, this one over here. And to test this one, I just simply push to the left. And I'm going to go through all the different directions. It's responding better than the one on the left, but I did get a little bit of drift right here. I'm going to try to collaborate it. See, it's starting to drift right there. As you can see, it's not in the center. Then I'm going to push down and it's not going back to center. I'm going to push left and it's not going to center. Push up. You'll turn the analog stick in a 360 circle until it says calibration complete. And if you just see that it had some drift right here, it's kind of hard to see, but it still has drift problems. Not as bad as the one on the left Joy-Con, but it's still there. And it's going to need to be fixed. I want you to know that I did order a kit online in order to repair these Joy-Cons. Here are the analog sticks that I purchased in order to fix the stick drift. Now you can order these in different colors if you want to mix it up a little bit, but I went ahead and got the factory color, black. And as you can see here, that it came with a set of tweezers, a plastic spudger to pry apart the Joy-Cons, a regular Phillips screwdriver, I believe it's a Phillips 0, and also a tri-wing screwdriver. Because when you go to take apart the Joy-Cons, it will have on the outer shell tri-wing screws. And right here is just a magnetic mat that I'm going to be putting the screws on as I work. You don't have to have that, but that's just going to hold the screws and keep them from getting lost. I'm going to go ahead and start on the right Joy-Con. As you can see, the right Joy-Con is different from the left because the analog stick is all the way down here. Now, that's going to result in this one being slightly easier, in my opinion. We're going to start out the same way. There are 4 screws that you want to remove. These are tri-wing screws. I'm going to go ahead and start removing them. And I'm going to put them on the magnetic mat so that I do not lose them. Again, these are all the same size and width, so you can put these in a group together so that you don't lose them. Okay, I have those 4 out. Now the next tool we're going to use is the plastic spudger. Now, just like on the other one, I'm going to take this plastic spudger, which has this point, this lip, that's going to go right in here where this lip is. And I'm going to push it in. Now, you want to use plastic because if you use metal in this, it'll really damage the case. See how that opens that? You want to take it around here until you start hearing a click like that. And what that's doing, it is opening the Joy-Con. This plastic piece here is letting it separate the back from the case. It's separating. Now what we want to do when we open this, just like the other one, just like the left Joy-Con, we want to open it like a book because there are cables that are connected to the back of this that connect to the controller's logic board. So just open it just like this. And you'll see these cables, and you do not want to break these cables. The method I'm showing you today, I call it the easy method. And what we're not going to be doing is we're not going to be disconnecting the battery. There's a small plastic port right there that a lot of beginners, and it's okay to be a beginner, but a lot of beginners disconnect this battery and this plastic port breaks. And then it ends up ruining their Joy-Con, and they have to go out and buy all new Joy-Cons, which is not very fun. So I'm going to show you a way that you can avoid that pain or that aggravation. Okay, because we're just going to leave the battery hooked up. Now, another way that this is different than the left Joy-Con, there is a small chip here that is just pushed into the side of this Joy-Con. I'm just going to take my finger and move this chip up and pull it down because it kind of follows the battery compartment. So the chip is just going to be dangling there like this. This is what goes to the Amiibo reader that reads the Amiibos. Now once you have that removed, you'll see right here, I can take this end of the spudger, place it underneath the battery cover, and gently pry up. Now, the reason I say gently pry up and wiggle just a little bit is because there is adhesive that connects this battery to the battery compartment. And you want to be easy when you're prying that up. And what we're going to do is just, once it's pried up, just lay the battery down here and just let it hang there. And there's going to be 3 screws that needs to be removed because we're going to have to go underneath this shoulder button and this battery compartment. Now we have a screw here, here, and here. Also be careful with this cable as we're removing the screws because that cable goes to the top shoulder button. And once you're removing these screws here, put them in a group of themselves. You're going to be using the Phillips screwdriver that came in the kit. I believe it's a Phillips 0. It's also magnetic, so that is another plus. So I'm going to put these with each other here. And then the third screw is down here toward the bottom of the battery cover. Okay, there's 3. Now, this top shoulder button and the battery compartment, when you're about ready to move the right battery compartment over on the right Joy-Con, it's a little different so that you don't disconnect the first shoulder button. You will turn the battery compartment to the left like this a little bit and turn it up. And that way, this cable to the top shoulder button, the right analog stick is going to be a little easier than the left because the 2 screws are more easily accessible. Here is the one. And here's the second one. There's 2 screws. And here is the connector that needs to come off. Closer look at that. So as you can see, right here is the connector to the ribbon cable. I have a plastic spudger, which is kind of like a miniature plastic pry bar. And you just gently lift up on that plastic lock that secures this ribbon cable in place. Then I'm going to take a pair of tweezers, put it down in there. I'm just going to pull that out just like that. And then I'm just going to take these other 2 screws off. Now, I want you to know that after you take these 2 screws off, there is a gasket underneath that is pushed up against the analog stick, and it could try to come out with the analog stick. If that happens, then you can put it back in. It's no problem. But once you get this analog stick loose, you may want to wiggle it just a little bit if that plastic gasket tries to come off. Okay, we got that off of there. Now we're gonna kind of wiggle just a little bit. See right here, or right here is that gasket I was talking about. And you can put it back in place if it comes off, but as you can see here, it's in place. Now, you might as well know that the R on the right Joy-Con, it's going to be the R button or the R shoulder button. This is definitely probably going to come off, and it's going to look like this. And it has a spring on it. And now don't get worried if that happens. Just make sure you do not lose this spring, and I'll show you how to reconnect it. But just like the other Joy-Con I did, the left Joy-Con, I'm going to clean right here, and I'm going to clean this right shoulder button with some better isopro alcohol and cotton swabs. I'm going to clean that up while I'm in here. Usually when, you know, kids, doesn't even have to be kids, anybody who eats while they're playing video games, they can get like food particles or whatnot up in here. So no, I'm not blaming the kiddos. It can be anybody. So I'm cleaning that shoulder button, and I clean the case right here where the shoulder button's going to rest. All the rest of it looks clean. I'm going to set that back up out of the way. And what I'm going to do next, right here is the old analog stick that I extracted from here that I took out. The first thing I'm going to do, put the analog stick down in here. And then I'm going to put the screws in right now as I hold this up. And don't over tighten it. Just make sure that they're on there tight, but not too tight. Remember, these are plastic parts here. Okay, that is on there good. Once you hear that click, it's set in there right. And once you hear that click, it's back on there right. But we have one major important thing to do before we're ready to close this back up. I am going to take the tweezers, I'm going to grab right here on the black ribbon that's on the cable, and I'm going to push it up. Now once you get it lined up, you'll see that this should be even with this little gold bar. That's this gold line here. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to close this clip back. It's going to hold it into place. What I need to show you now is how to put this shoulder button back on. So what you do, if you can see past this, and you got to be careful here because that shoulder button This one has ribbon cable to it. You just insert this plastic button here, and you'll see that there's a place here. That's where the spring is going to fit in, and you fit the shoulder button down in there, and if it's right, you'll hear a click. Listen. And then now you'll just want to push the battery cover back gently so that you do not mess up this ribbon cable here that goes to the top shoulder button. And you'll want to move it to where it is on top of the bottom shoulder button. Once you get it this far, you are ready for those 3 screws that hold down the battery compartment. There is one up here by the shoulder button, by that cable. Be very careful putting it back in. This top case right here, this battery case, and this top shoulder button is what holds the bottom shoulder button into place. So once we get this screwed in, once we get these 3 screws in, it will be in all the way. Now don't forget the 3rd and the last screw. And these are the Phillips screws. There will be one down here at the bottom of the battery compartment. And we're just going to tighten that down. Now the next thing we're going to do is there is an indentation right here for wires from the battery to go, and the top of the battery on this side, on the right JoyCon, you're going to want to see the model number, and also on this side you'll want to see the plus sign. Once you see that, you will see that the battery wire is going to fit right in, and you put it right in the battery holder compartment. Then you'll just gently push down, and that'll reseat on that sticker-like substance, the adhesive. And then you'll see this piece that goes to the Amiibo reader. We're going to push it down. You'll see there are 2 plastic pieces that it goes in between, this little chip, and it just seats right down in there. See how that seats right down in there? And then I'm going to take the wire, and I'm just going to snug that down into the battery case with my spudger. See this wire here that goes to the Amiibo reader? I'm just going to put that down in there. With the little spudger. And it is down in there good. Before I put this back together, I'm just going to give one real quick look, make sure that there is no damage to the cables and that everything is snapped down and fastened in okay. Then I'm going to go to this side because I don't want these cables to get caught down in there. And I'm going to just push that down in there from this side, on each side. And then I'm going to go to the plastic side and I'm going to push down. You should hear it clip or click into place, just like that. And then we're almost done. We're 9/10 of the way done, guys. Again, I'm going to hold my fingers underneath the controller here so that this analog stick is not laying flat on the ground, so it won't push up on the analog stick. So when I'm putting the screws in, it's not going to be pushing down. Now we're going to want our tri-wing screwdriver and put these 4 last tri-wing screws back into the controller. Now we want to fit these down snug, not too tight, not Incredible Hulk tight, but just snug. And there's 4 of them, if you remember. And here is the last one. Number 4 is in there. Now I'm just going to go over the rest of them, make sure they're in there good. They are. Now here are finished product. I will give you a link in the video description on where you can buy these. These are third party, and I know what you're probably thinking. How long are these third party replacements going to last? I don't know, but I've been playing with mine for about a year now. So at least a year, and probably a lot more. But if they ever do fail, you know how to replace them again. Now, once you are done and your controllers are ready, the Nintendo Switch that you're going to be connecting them to, go ahead and connect your JoyCons now. Make sure they're locked in place, that you can hear them locked in place. And then you'll want to turn on your Nintendo Switch. You see down here these circles. We're going to want to put it over to this settings, this cogwheel or gear, whichever you want to call it. Press A. And over here you will see there are some settings. And you're going to scroll down to where it says controllers and sensors. So we're going to push A on that, and then we're going to scroll down to collaborate control sticks. Now that these analog sticks have been replaced, we need to recalibrate them to the Nintendo Switch. So we're going to push A on that, and we're going to first do the left one. So we're going to push the left one to the right, and it should activate the collaboration. So we're going to collaborate and push A, and it says push it to the right and release, push down and release, push left and release, push up and release. Then it says do a 360. Calibration is complete. Now, remember how it floated before? Let's see if it floats. You see, no longer floating. It goes right back to the center. And that means the left Joy-Con was a success in replacing the analog stick. That means you can now exit, push B to go back, and you're now ready to play your Nintendo Switch again. If this video helped you any, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, I will see you later.